welcome. I will give everybody a second to get in here and get live. Hey, somebody's got double feedback. But all right, so I'll give everybody a second to get on here and get live and get active. Do either one of y'all have this playing in two places or just one place?
Just one.
Somebody picking up some double feedback. It's okay. Probably, Sean. All right, so cool. There we go. Giving everybody a second to get in and get acclimated, and then we'll kind of. I think I'm gonna actually take y'all's video away from it, and then I will bring y'all back. Y'all cool with that?
Am I supposed to be on here twice? Looking at myself twice?
No, there's a
How do I take the other one off?
close out.
And try to come
I
back?
know.
Yeah, just close out. All right, what's up, everybody? I welcome you guys into another opportunity to dive into the single life. Of course, man, I look forward to these days because we have so much fun in this topic. And today I have a couple of special guests with me that I will bring on in just a second. But I wanted to give everybody a second to kind of get in and get your feet wet. Remember, this is an open platform. Feel free to ask whatever questions you want to ask. And there's always somebody in the chat. There's always somebody on the platform or somebody that will come back and watch the restream and be blessed by the things that we talk about and grow from it. So without further ado, I will introduce two, should be three. We'll see. All right, I will see. There we go. All right, so I will see if my other guest makes it, and I see two out of the three, but hopefully the third guest will make it in. But I will bring two. So today, what I want to do is dive into, of course, we're talking about the single life, and I want to visit that from every aspect that we can visit. There's so many different things to discuss within this. But today, I want to talk about those who have been married and either you're divorced or widowed or separation, whatever brought you back into the single life. That's where I want to dive in from today. So I want to introduce you all to two guests. This first guest, that is Miss Tiffany Hampton, who is a friend on and off camera. I've known her for years. Beautiful soul inside and out. And then here's my other guest. This is Roshan Spencer, another friend on and off the camera who I've known for years and years and years. Thank you all so much for being here and your ability to be transparent today. I appreciate that. Are y'all nervous?
No.
No. Tiff, you
No,
nervous?
not really.
All right,
Not
bet.
really.
Let's get into
You
it
know, I
then.
like
That's
talking
cool.
about things like this. So
Bet. Let's
it's my
go.
thing. It's
Nobody's
my
nervous.
thing. It's my thing.
Bet. Nobody's nervous. We're jumping in. All right, so listen. Of course, anytime anybody gets married, right? There's never a thought for like what happens after marriage. Of course, like you get married and it's like, all right, this is it. Like I'm married, found my dream person. I'm about to move into this dream life that I fantasized about and dreamed about as a little girl, right? And for whatever reason, it doesn't go the way you planned, and separation, divorce has to happen, right? All right, so what is the mindset that you all had to enter into to go from like couples, miss, married into, oh man, I'm single again. What's the song? I'm single again. Back on the okay, boom, right? So what is the mindset shift that has to take place when you transition from that piece into the second level? I'll start with you, Sean. Go ahead.
I mean, it's a different mindset because you have to go from pretty much doing things from the perspective of togetherness into now doing things by yourself. So your whole mindset changes, especially if you have kids involved or a child involved. So things totally look different from that aspect.
Tip?
I would have to agree with Sean. When you intermingle your life with someone and you've done everything together for so long, it's hard to say, hey, now it's just me. But like she said, when you have children, it catapults you into what direction you need to go into. Because even if you're not doing it for yourself, you got little people looking at you, so you got to make it do what it do. So your
Right.
mindset automatically shifts to not thinking about you, but to think about them and what else I need to do to make this life sufficient for them.
Okay. So I'm glad you said that because I wanted to kind of figure out, because I do know that both of you all have children, right? So how does
Right.
that now play into dating? Because you entered into dating without children, right? You dated and you were
Mm-hmm.
just like free, and it's all about me, and I can go on dates and I can stay out late, whatever, the whole nine. And then now, because the marriage didn't work out the way we planned, now we transition back into the single phase. But now I'm coming into the single phase with some carry-on luggage. You know what I mean? So now, how do I begin to navigate the waters with children? Because that's a very intricate part that a lot of people don't really talk about when it comes to dating with children. Like, do I act as if I don't have children? Are my children, they're present but not really present? What is the appropriate time to kind of do some introductions? And then let me ask you this, and like, let me throw this, I guess, let me throw this caveat in there first, right? Because I do know guys who have children, and I'm not of this volition, right? Because I protect Jordan at all times. But I know guys will try to speed up the process. We don't really have the same attachment to the introduction as women have, right? So how do you all handle it, or how would you handle it if you haven't been faced with that situation where the male tries to introduce the kids way early because he's trying to speed this process up?
Well, for me, I will and that because I have young boys, and I'm new to the dating scene now, my boys have given me specific characteristics that they don't even want me to have in a man, which is so funny to me. I think that when you first start dating, I think that I wouldn't introduce my children right off because
Right,
I need to get to know this person. I need
for
to
sure.
make sure that it's going to be something with this person. And I need to make sure that I'm compatible with the person. So as for like now, for me and my children always know that I'm going with my friends. They always assume it's my girlfriends, and they always want to critique me on mom, especially my boys, because I have three boys. What do you have on for, mom? Where are you at on, mom? You shouldn't wear that, mom. You just going with your friends, girl. I don't lie to them because I know that's not a good thing to lie to them and say whatever. But I haven't told my children that I've been on a date or gone on a date or anything like that because they're not ready yet. Because I'm new to this, they're not ready. And if once I'm ready to tell them, I just want to make sure that me and the guy, we're on the page to say, hey, this is going to be something, and now my children can meet you and all those things. But I have a lot of friends and ones that have introduced their kids early. It has not been a good experience. And so for me, that's just a teacher. Don't introduce them. I meet you and boom, we finna be married and we finna be this big happy family. I don't recommend that. So I haven't done that. So that's just my take.
Okay, hold on, pause, Sean. I'm getting messages about our feedback. So before you answer, all right, does anybody have this playing twice anywhere in your room? Is this playing twice or anything else? Because it's feedback that's coming through. So I want to make sure that we're not a distraction so everybody can get it clearly. Are y'all good on both ends?
I mean, I see myself twice at the bottom and at the top, like in the square with you guys, and then it's one that's at the bottom. But
I need you. Can you close out one of those?
I
um,
think I see that same thing. If I
yeah,
close that,
Well,
when you
no,
say
over on the
leave,
close
side.
it
Yeah, I'm
out
not
and it
talking about
closes
that.
me
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I see that over on the side. I see that. That's not it.
But that's
This,
it.
all right, well, do me a favor. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Everybody mute unless you're responding. I guess we'll stay on mute unless one is responding. So if y'all hit mute, and let's see if that changes. I want to make sure we're good.
Okay.
No, you gotta mute your phone, your laptop, your iPad. Tiff, you on mute? Okay, see, there's no feedback right now. Okay, so all right, so here's what we'll do. All right, so now, Sean, I want you to jump in and answer that question. I just got Tiff's feedback. I want you to jump in and answer the question that Tiff just asked.
I mean, I agree. I have not done that with the dating thing, so but I know I'm not introducing anybody to my kids, unless it's just something serious that's just not gonna happen. But so yeah, I haven't gotten that far yet. But my I have a daughter and I have a son, so she's already thinking we're closer than just mom and daughter because she thinks she's my mom. So I have to be very, I'm very open with her, to be
Right.
honest. And I say that because I don't want her to have any doubt or any question about what I'm going through. So but yeah, I talk to her all the time. And so I'm not comfortable with bringing anybody around them. No time soon, and that's just one of the elements of just being separated, being going through things like this, is that your comfortability is no longer where it was with the person you was with for so long. So
Okay, so in that, all right. So in that, what is, and this for both of y'all, what is your ETA that you set for an introduction of children to said person? Is it 6 months? Is it 8 months? Is it a year? Like what, or is it just not a time dynamic? It's just a kind of we flow and we see where we go. Like what's the dynamic for introduction as far as the kids go?
I don't necessarily think I would have a time frame. I think it's mostly for me on how comfortable I am with that person, what I see, that person and I have is it something that's going to, be considered consistent. So because I'm not bringing you around just to see my children for a weekend, like that's
Right,
not
right,
gonna happen.
right.
So I don't necessarily say is I got to be with somebody for 6 months because the 7 months we may not be together. So I don't think it's necessarily a time frame for me. I think I just kind of go with the flow and go with the vibe of that person.
All right, bet too.
I would have to agree with Sean. I think it's just a matter of the chemistry that you have, the direction that you all are going together. If it's because, like she said, you can't really put a number on it. And I just think being older, you kind of know if this is going to go somewhere or if it's not. And so you could tell that right off. And it's not just I'm playing games or I just want to be this big happy family. All of a sudden, you have to know, because I've learned now, you have to be specific with what you want and you pray for and you desire. And once you be specific, you kind of can know those things early. When you don't can you just get whatever, then because some women they date just to say I have someone. Well, me where I
Right.
am right now, that's not my MO. I don't want to
Yeah.
date just to say I'm having someone. I got to be
Right.
specific about it. So I'll know, well, a short amount of time, not say short, but if we have a chemistry, if it's going that direction,
Right.
then yes, you can meet my kids. But if I'm just met you and none of that.
Okay, bet. And I'm glad that you said that too. Like y'all open up the book for me before I even get there for real. All right, so because a lot of there's okay, the state of the dating game now, right? So you do have a lot of women, like you just pointed out, and men for that matter too, that are I just want to be with somebody because I don't want to be alone, right? And so it's almost like you ruin the ingredients of this dating recipe because now that person has been preconditioned to think, oh, well, this is how it's supposed to move, right? So I was on a fast track with the previous person, and the next person I'm supposed to meet, I'm supposed to be on the fast track as well, right? So, like, when it comes to that dynamic, what would you all say, right? Coming from it, for people who are just jumping on, okay, we're coming from married to welcome back to the single life. All right. So, what would be your thought process of dating now? Of course, you know, it, both of you all I know were married for a lengthy amount of time, right? So, it was some time between when you left the dating game and now re-entering the dating game. And it's almost like I liken it to somebody who was in jail, right? So if you went to jail in like the 90s and then you came out somewhere in the 2000s, you are looking at this world like, oh my, wait, y'all have phones that take pictures? Like, because that wasn't the 90s thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything's digital. What is an iPad? Like, that's kind of where you get into, right? So I'm saying, I'm using that broad, very broad brushstroke to say, like, coming into the dating game now, the landscape is different. right? It's different. So what would be your take for both of y'all? What's your take on the dating game now, coming out of marriage into like, oh, okay, what we got out here? Hold on, Sean, I got you on mute. Okay, let me unmute you. Go ahead, Sean, you got it. Tiff, you on mute?
Different, scary. It's totally different than years ago, I would say. So,
Scary.
yeah, absolutely. You just don't know what, for me, you just don't know for like what people full intentions are. Like my intentions can be totally pure and just genuine, and you would want that reciprocated back, but you just sometimes just don't get that. And so for me, that's a big like turn off.
All right. Tiff. Tiff, you gotta unmute. You still on mute. Unmute.
Sorry. How about
You
now?
good.
Okay. Like you were saying, I think it's like you being a fish out of water, when you're not used to the new things or how it's supposed to go or how you meet people or how you talk to people. And everybody's now doing the dating apps and there's so many out there. You don't know if people are real or not, and it's just scary. So I don't know. It's new to me, and like I said, one thing I'm just learning: you better be, okay with yourself. You better have healed some things you've had in your relationship beforehand, so you can know and recognize the representative when they come to you. Because again, you still gonna have some of that because everybody's not being their authentic self, trying to
Right.
get to know somebody. You're
Right.
coming as your authentic self and thinking, oh, this is how everybody is, but it's not that way. So, and everybody have different expectations. I'm finding now with dating because it's I'm dating when people say I'm casual versus a long term versus I'm just seeking friendship.
Hey, the
I'm learning that
terminology,
all
Tiff,
those things
the
are meaning something
terminology
different. It's
matters.
different.
The terminology matters. You
It
better have an
does.
understanding of, it's almost like cooking, right? Like somebody might say a pinch of this. What is a pinch? I need a measurement. A pinch is not a measurement. Show me a measurement, right? So like you do, like terminology is different. Somebody may say, all right, you got this term. Oh, this is just a situationship. Or you got this term that says, oh man, we're friends. Oh, we just talk. Oh, we're dating. Oh, well, we're exclusively dating. Like it's so many levels now that you have to have an understanding on before you press go. You know what I mean? You got to know what you're getting yourself into. But you brought up a critical point, and I want to dive into it in kind of a couple of different directions. Because I was asked about dating apps and kind of like how it's viewed even in the church scenario of a dating app, which I know it's not there. It's okay, right? Wherever you meet people, it's fine. It's not you can only meet people, at church, or you can only meet people, at the grocery store. Like you can't control where you meet people, right? And so I'm not against dating apps, and we're not against dating apps or things like that. But you just got to be careful and be watchful, right? But let me ask you all this. So where do you all meet people, right? Because I know that becomes the new question. Like, well, where do I meet people? Because for me, I'm very much a homebody. Work, church, which is my work and my church is the same thing. So work, church, gym, home. That's pretty much my layout, right? If you are not in that walk of life, or the grocery store, I spend a lot of time in the grocery store, right? Because I love to cook. So if you're not in that walk of life, we're probably not going to cross paths because I don't go out. I'm not on the scene. I'm not at the clubs. I don't even really go to events. That's just me. I'm good on that, right? At 35, I'm good. And I know you all got me by some years, but that's me at 35. I'm good on that, right? But for you all, where do you meet said guys or potential candidates?
That's what I'm telling you. My layout looks like your layout. So if you don't go to those places, or even in those places, if you're not taking the time to stop to get to talk to someone or to know someone, because you're on a
Right.
mission with what you're doing, you're still not meeting anybody. And I
For
found
sure.
too, people are trying to tell you, let's do dating apps, and they don't want people to know that that's how they met, because in this society today, some people are ashamed of those things. Not saying that that's what I'm trying to do,
Right.
but my layout is like yours, and I'm just trying to figure that same thing out, because a lot of times. If you don't have mutual friends that know somebody that say, hey, they might make a good match, you really don't get a chance to meet people like that. And if you like me, a lot of times, even with church, if you're not involved or doing something,
You
you
in and
get your
out.
message,
You
you
in and
go
out.
home.
You in and out.
If you go to a conference, you get what you're gonna get, you go home. So I'm like you, still trying to navigate that scene to say, how do I meet someone? Or, and even at your working place, like me, I've been at my job for a number of years. Other people, not people I would want to date. I just don't. But I mean, because again, I've watched and been around these people for years, and it's like, hey, that's my friend, that's my buddy, that's my coworker. Oh, I know
Right.
them from where I work, versus me trying to say, oh, let me go out on a date with them. So I'm still trying to figure that part out. Like what you said, where do you go to date? Where do you go to meet someone of substance that will pique your interest?
I got you. Sean. You still on mute. You still on mute. We need you to come off mute.
I'm off mute.
There
Okay.
you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. I have to agree. I don't look. So I don't know where to start. I mean I haven't started. So I
Lord,
don't
the people
know.
can't help me tell the people where to look because they don't
I
look.
mean, I'm just
Jesus.
saying, like, I don't, my friends would say, hey, I know, like, I don't do, I mean, I'm on social media and stuff, but um, I think I have gotten scarred by TikTok and all of the social media, reality TV. I ain't trying to be catfish. So, yeah, I'm very just picky when it comes to that. So, for me, I think I would just try to do things for me, just the natural way. I think because that's just what I'm most comfortable with. So we have to do the meet and greet thing and public places for the first couple of times. I mean, until some type of comfort zone get established. But I'm not trying to, and I'm not knocking people who do. But yeah, I don't want to see a picture of maybe your cousin, and it may
So,
it
right.
ain't you. So so I'm not. I don't think I will go to an app for it. I mean, and to each his own, but that's just not my
For sure.
preference.
Well, and I think now you have, I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I said, man, dating has taken a such a different narrative these days. Hold on, I need both of y'all to go on mute. All right. So dating has taken such a different narrative these days because with social media platforms, it makes that interaction much quicker. You know what I mean? Versus, so in the past, you see somebody, you're going to have to walk up and introduce yourself, right? And say, hey, I'm such and such, what's your name? Kind of spark up some random conversation and build from there. Now, people don't really do much of that because let me look them up on Facebook. All I need is their name. Let me look them up on Facebook. I'm going to slide in the DM. Let me look them up on Instagram. I'm going to slide in the DM. TikTok, Snapchat, whatever, right? So I'm glad to hear that in this day and time, there are still women that prefer the classic way. Hey, no. Come introduce yourself. Let's talk. You know what I mean? Let's sit down and have a conversation. I'm not with all the quick stuff. Conversation, please. Conversation with me. All right. All right. So listen, we jumped past one question I wanted to ask you all. And I'm asking this because I promise you, I have heard women say this. All right. So I know that both of you all are in 40s. Let's just say in the 40 bracket, somewhere in the 40 bracket. We'll just say that. And I have to say that so people can kind of understand like this. I'm in the 30s, but I like the people to know like this isn't just a 30 or a 20 type segment. You understand what I'm saying? So no shade in that. Although I do throw shade a lot, but that time is no shade, right? So listen, so here we go. All right. How do you feel in your bracket when you meet a man who does not have children? Because I have heard women say it's weird if he doesn't have children and he's my age. Like something's wrong with him. I have heard women throw, and he may be a good man. I have heard women throw men out and say, nope, he don't have kids and he 40. What? Something wrong with him. Something got to be wrong with him. So how do you all feel about that? I got to get that question answered by both of you, please. Whoever, somebody unmute, jump on.
Okay. I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I would have a problem with someone who don't have kids. I mean, it could be just their preference. Again, like, I mean, because some men just don't prefer women, to date women with kids, and so
Right?
you have that same thing with women. But for me, I don't think I would be opposed to it, and I don't think I would dig too deep into something maybe wrong with him or to see if he, question his sexuality or anything like that, because that comes into play. But I mean, I think a conversation will probably come up of why you haven't had kids, or if if you want kids, and if they just was one of those people who's like, I just never really wanted to go down that road. Like, I mean, I think I just have to respect that person's decision.
Okay, we hear you. So I'm gonna make sure. I hope whoever's listening, he just noted that in his journal, right? So if he comes and he has no kids, don't turn your face up sideways. Got it. Got it. Till next. Till.
Well, I would have to agree with Sean. I wouldn't necessarily say something was wrong. It just depends on the timing and what trajectory their life was on. Because some people have been ambitious and have done different things. And as we like to say, maybe they're was raised a certain way where I wanted to have a wife and I wanted
Yeah.
to, get married before I had children. Maybe they went down necessarily saying something is wrong or they on the down low, but I will have to agree with you. As women, when we have been in circles and we do talk, sometimes that does come up. It's like, what's wrong with him?
Thank you for the
Some
honesty.
I
Right.
ain't gonna say the other song, gonna keep that touchy, but some people may think something going on over there too. So, it's like you have to look at that. But I'm like Sean, I wouldn't be opposed to someone that didn't have kids, but I would want to know, well, what's your history? Why don't you? And and if that was your preference, and if you still want to now, what is your criteria getting off into the 40s and over? Like, do you want to have kids now, and with whom, and all that good wonderful stuff? But like I said, it's some other reasons that people would say that the
For
reason
sure. For
why,
sure.
hey, you don't have any kids, something ain't right with that right there. But I
Right.
don't think
So
that there's
question.
something
So
wrong if
on
they
the
don't.
on the same subject of
You know.
kids, right? So on the same subject of kids, right? So let's say he does not have kids. All right. So now he's mid to late 40s, early 50s in that bracket or whatever, right? He does not have kids. And he says, I want to have kids. Now, you see this guy as a quality guy. You like him, he checks the boxes, but he says, I do desire to have a child. What's your thought on that? How do women respond to that? Yeah, I figured I was gonna get that look. Yep. Come on.
Woo, woo. Uh, well, considering me, I have 4 children already. Lord knows. Oh my God. I would have to say, if the only way, we would have to really be married and I mean together, and I really see you really doing
We
before
got to
I
pray.
would
We
say
got to
let's
talk to
have another
God.
child. We
We
got to
got to talk to
pray.
God.
We got to make sure God's speaking to both of us at the same time, because we got to be specific about this. And I'm like, because again, because for me, having my children, I would go back to starting with a baby again. It's like you
For sure.
passed that stage. I don't
Listen,
want to start back there.
Tiff,
You know what I'm saying?
Tiff, you know me, and I love kids. Like I love children. I love them. Like with the learning center in the school, I have given my life to children in so many ways, right? And Jordan, with her intelligent 12-year-old self, is always asking, like, Dad, I want a sibling. Dad, I want a little brother. I want a little brother. Baby, you have 3 nephews. You got Owen, you got Orion, you got Blair. You got 3 nephews. Like, for me, and again, at 35, I just don't, it's tough to think about going back to changing diapers and waking up in the middle of the night. Like, Jordan is self-sufficient. You feel me? So I feel like as a parent, you celebrate once you get to that level of self-sufficiency, right? Like I can leave you at home. You know what I mean? I can tell you, hey, go in your room and learn individual play. You feel what I'm saying? Like I don't have to just sit you here and rock you and, waking up during the night trying to make sure you're okay. Like we're past that stage. So that's why I wanted to know, like, as a woman, and Sean, you're not off the hook. You about to slide right on to answer this question. Like, how do you respond to him when he says, hey, this is what I want?
Listen, today I said no more kids. Like, I mean, I wouldn't. I just, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I got a boy and a girl. Like, I got one of each. What else? But now, if it was somebody that, again, let's go back to if we are together, we are married. He don't have kids. He's I mean, if that's something that he really, really want, I'll consider depending on the age frame. But I mean, there are other options. So that I think that's a discussion for us to have. Like, you know, are you willing to adopt? Are you willing to have a surrogate? Are you like, I mean, are you wanting me to care? I think again, it has to just be with if I'm gonna be with that person. Like, is this my person? Like, I'm not just, you know, we ain't dating and talking about no kids, and you saying
Right.
I want you to have my baby, because that's in one ear and not the other, and I'm not. I would say, oh, okay, and when I say, oh, okay, I ain't listening to you no more. So, if I ever, oh, okay, you on a conversation about some kids and we're just dating, you can just forget about it. But if it's somebody that I'm like with and they're serious, like we're together, then I mean, I think that's just kind of a conversation to be had.
Okay. All right. So last one, I listen. Some of these comments in the chat. Somebody said get somebody else to do it when they actually had kids. Get somebody else to do it. I'm done. I cannot. Okay. All right. So listen. Last question. Last question. I want y'all to think about it, like really and truly. What would you say is the toughest thing that you have encountered moving from married? And I don't have to, because let me say this real quick. Let me, before I get to the full body of the question. Yeah, I know how y'all married people do, right? Y'all look down on us single people, and it's okay. Don't worry about it. But y'all look down. Y'all like, oh, we married. We don't have to worry about this stuff. And oh man, that's for them. That's for the single, right? Okay, come on back. Welcome, because there's still great people over here in the single platform, right? And God still loves us just like He loves y'all married people. Okay, so let's make that clear. Okay, all right. So listen, but what would you consider is the toughest thing that you had to kind of go through as you transition from being married and having that family unit that you desired and having those things set up just like you wanted, like to now be in 2024, and at whatever age you are dating. And I do want to make this clear too, because I think, do either one of you have an age? Let's two questions in one. I apologize. Do either one of you have an age where you say, if I haven't found somebody by this age, I'm done? Do y'all have an age, or is dating always an option on the table? No, you got to unmute and answer. I don't know what that means.
No, I don't have an age. I'm
okay,
not
cool.
I ain't giving up on myself. Like, I ain't gonna say
that's what I like. That's okay.
I'm done. Like, no.
That's what I wanted to make sure. Tiff, you? Tiff, unmute. Yes? No? Trying to figure the unmute out. Okay, maybe Tiff will answer in a minute.
I don't have an age.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have an age. I don't have an age. No, it's unmuted. It's not muted.
We hear you. No, we hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
hello?
We hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. For me, I don't have an age, but I wanted to speak to what you said about, like you said about married people thinking maybe look down on single people. Okay. I just know I would rather be single and happy than married and not happy, because a lot of times people are married but they're not happy. They're just as single as we newly single people are too. And so one of the things that I'm just learning, you got to get to know yourself. So I don't have an age. I just pray that it stays where I'm comfortable with me and who I am and what I bring to the table, and I'm okay with that, and praying that I meet that person that can match my energy, because I'm learning you got to make sure you know your own energy before you want someone else to be on the page with. So
okay. And I wanted to get that out there because since I've started this, I kind of I get emails and I get texts and I run into people and they ask me different questions. So I try to make a note to get questions answered. And one of the things that I got was from some of my senior level people about like dating and just kind of the desire to still date. And I know that for me, I could be 55, 65. And if I'm single at 55, 65, I'm never closing that chapter, right? I'm never closing that chapter because I believe there's something to be said about God's order. And I know God made Eve for Adam. I know that. So God desires for everybody to have a partner and to have a mate. I know that, and I believe that in my heart, and you can't make me believe any differently. Now, I know the caveat to that is sometimes our decision making affects that connection. You know what I mean? God has things that's preordained for you, and you have to follow his will in order to get there. But if I never want to go out, right? If I never want to leave my house, it's going to be hard for me to, you know what I mean? So we got to keep that in mind. But I wanted to make sure we're never throwing that away. Nobody ever throws that away. But here's a question, and we're closing on this. What is the toughest thing that you have encountered entering back into dating at, you know, I know, of course, you're a little older. Of course, now we know you got to carry on. Sean, you got 2. Tip has 4. Tiffany told y'all she has 4, but what Tiffany did not share with y'all, she has triplets first. So she has 1 son, and then she has triplets, 2 boys and a girl. And that's, my heart and my love always goes to Tiffany, because any mom that had 3 kids at one time, you carried them. So God got something special in you. You are a different breed. Listen, right? So, but with that being said, coming back out into the dating world with your children and being a little older, what would be the toughest thing that you have encountered?
I think just being with someone who my kids are comfortable with. I mean, that's just going to be important to me. If it's something, if I'm dating someone and my kids are just not comfortable, I can't be comfortable. That means, I mean, I just can't be comfortable with someone who my kids are just not really vibing with, or not just, feel like they can be comfortable in whether we go out or at home or whatever. So I just think that's going to be like, that's going to play an important, part with me. And I think that's just going to be the difficult thing, is because they're used to a 2-parent household rather. So, and even now we try to just kind of keep things as neutral and regular as possible as we can with them.
Right.
To still do things, so that they can still have that aspect as much as possible. But I just think making sure that it's someone who meshes well with not only me but my kids. I think that's just going to be the hardest thing for me.
So you're saying when you're dating, you're not only, this is a new perspective. Hit mute for a second. This is a new perspective. So you're not only dating and looking through your own lens, right? But you're also dating and essentially like pre-analyzing from your children's lens. Like, your son and your daughter and likes. And so you're really dating for 3 at one time. I feel it. Okay, I like that. I can dig that. Tiff, toughest thing that you have encountered entering back into the dating scene? Unmute.
I think, like you said, since I have 4 children, I think unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. You're good. Yes. Go ahead.
No.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
It's not muted anymore. Hello?
We hear you. We got you. We hear you.
Oh, okay. For me, like you said, by me having 4. Okay. Like you said, for me, since I have 4 children, the hardest thing for me has been guys that have tried to talk to me and tell me, they said that they're intimidated by me, because they see me. I have to do so many things. My children are in a lot of extracurricular activities. We go to school, we do all these things, and it's like, you're doing all these things, and how do you do that? How do you have time to say you want to date? And I said, there's always, where there's a will, there's a way, if that's something that you want to do. And what Sean said, you do date for your children as well, because like I told you, my children have given me criteria. There are certain things they already told me, Mom, if you date this type of man, I'm not gonna like them.
Oh, we lost Tiff in the middle of that.
It's like, wow, I never thought you was paying attention in that way, but they are paying attention in that way.
Right.
So you have to really be cautious when you're looking at those things, because my sons have already, said to me, Mom, we're ready for you to date. We think you need to have someone in your life. We think you need to.
Okay. I think we might have lost Tiff. All right. So, well,
right there. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I don't know what happened right there.
Thank you. You good. Thank you, Tiff. Sean, thank you. I appreciate both of you all taking time out of your busy day. I know you all are definitely professional women who kind of have a lot going on. I appreciate you taking time to jump on the Single Life today. Before I close out, I do want to let everybody know, listen, again, with your continued thought and prayers and concern, Pastor is good, and he sends his love to everyone. You know, I was telling my mom on the way home, I would talk to her on the phone. I was like, Mom, you know, I was checking in on him, checking on her. I said, Mom, listen, man, the phone lines have been blowing up. Like, you know, everybody wants to make sure, you know, Dad's okay. They want to, you know, send his love out. And so, you know, he's good. He sends his love. He appreciates all the texts, the phone calls, the messages, the emails. You all have been communicating in every way you know how. So thank y'all so much for that. I appreciate it. And like I said, you will see him. We're going to try to hold him out for 2 weeks. Hopefully he'll listen to us, but we might just be able to hold him out for 1. But as soon as you see him, just make sure you continue, like I said, keep him in your prayers and continue to shower him with love. Thank y'all so much. I will catch y'all next week. Be blessed.